we're to look at the weapons that you get early game in Project Zomboid, like within the first couple days, this is generally what you're gonna find. There's gonna be outliers, there's gonna be things of like, you're gonna get really lucky and find a sledgehammer once in 1,000 runs. Don't use that as a weapon, by the way. That's a terrible idea in build 42, but that's just to explain the variance and like, you know, it's all RNG. You will get screwed by RNG, but this is relatively what you're gonna find. Kitchen knives, rolling pins, all these things, rocks. So, last night I was doing testing. Not the most scientific thing in the world, but testing. And what I've got, I don't think is controversial, but I feel like somebody will find it controversial. I think that's just how she goes. I want to give a huge thank you to Ping Players for sponsoring the channel. Their AI-powered hosting service allows you to set up a server in minutes for games like 7 Days to Die, Palworld, and Project Zomboid. Check the description for my link to learn more, and thank you again to the Ping Players team. Starting with a kitchen knife, right? The kitchen knife, you may not even find that you know, you may find a fork or a knife or a meat cleaver if you're lucky. If you're lucky, you'll find a meat cleaver. That's like the higher end of the knife spectrum in my eyes. But I tend to believe you should stick to using knives as a tool, not as a weapon. For me, it's an F tier weapon. Breaks too easy, doesn't do a ton of damage. You do, I think, still get the instant kill animation occasionally, but it never procced for me. And I was consistently going against like wide range here. I started this list going against 50 zombies per weapon. Ended up going 5 or like 6, but the kitchen knife did not take long to peter out and break. Once you get into the maintenance and the like repairing things, knives can be a decent option, but early game, first couple days, knife's not gonna do it for you. Hello? Oh, hello, same place. Wild. Moving on to the rolling pin, the damage on the rolling pin surprised me. The damage on the rolling pin was, like everything, once you enter into the muscle strain aspect, the damage drop-off is insane. But some weapons had a little more oomph, a little more kick. Maybe they were sharper. Usually it's because they were sharper. But as long as you can manage that muscle strain and resting in between pulls, the rolling pin does a good amount of damage. It stays together longer. The knife breaks easy. A lot of these weapons will break pretty easy, but the rolling pin, the conditions stayed pretty good for a couple pulls, and it got a B tier out of me. On that same note, almost like bar for bar, they were stealing each other's flow. The frying pan does the exact same thing. It's good enough damage for the time being. The durability is okay. It's nothing special. It's nothing, you're not gonna keep a frying pan as a weapon for longer than like 30 minutes, maybe. That's a B tier. The rock was a last minute addition right before the stream because I remembered that you can just, as Nate Dogg once said, if I ain't got a weapon, I'ma pick up a rock. And that really spoke to me. That being said, it is just a rock, and for the abundance, you can find these anywhere, on the street, in the grass. They're kind of what the planet's made out of a little bit. It gets a B tier. You can find plenty of them if you genuinely, as Nate Dogg once said, if you don't have a weapon, you can pick up a rock. B tier. This is a very diversified tier list so far. Slay. Thank you. Cleaver's got some aura as a weapon. No, they do. They really do. Cleavers do have, there's a certain je ne sais quoi about cleavers. Moving on to the hammer. I have a strange relationship with using tools as weapons. And when I say strange, I mean don't. You are for sure, spoilers, screwdriver's not good either. That's a hot take. I think the only caveat I have there is axes, and that's only the smaller axes. The hand axes are pretty much my only caveat, where if you need a weapon and you have a hand axe, that's your best option. But for the time being, the hammer is fine as a weapon for a little bit. Consider the following: hitting things with a hammer is funny. Vince, true. Dare I say it, real. For that, right? I'm not crazy. I'm not insane, you know. The hammer does get an A rank out of me. That's, you know, obviously. Mask off a little bit here, unveiling the curtain. I do have notes, and all I have written for the baseball bat is, come on. Become the weapon. True. Real. As far as like the baseball bat and the crowbar, they're both, I have written as, come on. If you pull either of these early game, you're set. Like that'll be your weapon for a long time. It doesn't take much to repair bats. If they break, what is it, like 2 wood glue, some duct tape? Fix it. I don't know, man. And the crowbar, if the crowbar breaks on you, that's more of an achievement than a detriment, really. That being said, you do have to pull the crowbar. So, you know, you get your you got your dice games here. I do think from my, again, I was testing at 5 a.m. last night, so I don't remember much. The baseball bat and crowbar, the damage drop off with muscle strain didn't feel as bad as other weapons. That's kind of all I got though, is like, because I have the numbers, it all kind of just comes down to 1s and 0.9s, right? But they just didn't feel as bad. Some weapons, once you get into the muscle strain territory, that just kind of is it. Do you think upgrading to a nail bat is worth it? Yes. Asterisk. So planks, again, surprisingly good damage and durability. All around, if you find one in the wild, you're more likely to use it for carpentry, but the whole point is if you need a weapon and you have this, sure. And for that, I put it in B because the damage surprised me. Coming back to that asterisk, I think it's hilarious to just not elaborate, but I haven't done explicit testing with nail bats and different variations of the bat. The weapons that I did do testing with were the cudgel. I did the cudgel with animal bones, the cudgel with brake disc, and I think nails as well. And what I came down to was the cudgel is a terrible weapon if you don't know how to kite. That's actually the next point with the wood axe. This is the first weapon that I think, like, if you find this and you have nothing else, okay, sure, it's better than pushing them and stomping, but it's really bad. Damage is fine. The damage is proportional, I think, but it is so slow. You need to know your area of effect. Like if you wait until the red outline is on the zombies, or if you don't even play with that melee combat outline on, you're missing a lot of these swings and you're putting yourself at risk often. It's just not advisable to use the wood axe, I think. You're much better just using that to chop out some trees. On the flip side of that, the hand axe is surprisingly good. And I know I'm betraying myself here with the like, hey, use these tools as tools and not as weapons. But the hand axe is also in A for me because the damage was crazy from what I was expecting it to do. The muscle strain is minimal because there's just, it's a small weapon. You just smack at them, as opposed to one of those bigger two-handed weapons where if you are swinging that thing 5 times, you're instantly in the muscle strain like territory. With a smaller weapon, you can get away with a few more encounters, and that's just numbers-wise better for build 42 at the moment. The same cannot be said for screwdriver. The screwdriver arguably is the smallest weapon we have here. Don't ever use a screwdriver. Just don't. If it's all you have, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. And I only marginally feel better about a stone knife even. It is a small weapon, you get the benefits of the stamina saving, but it does so little damage early game. It's just kind of, womp womp, you know what I mean? That's our first D tier weapon. A really quick addendum to what I was saying about the stone knife. It's not that it does bad damage, I think I misspoke there. It's that these stone tools will break so often that it's just, you gotta compare, like, is it worth going out and getting these resources and making these weapons as opposed to just finding something else in a different house? That's all. That's what I meant. I feel the same way about the stone axe as I do the wood axe. Slow, breaks really quick. It's one of those weapons where early game, when you're crafting the stone knife and the stone axe and the stone hammer, they all break almost immediately. And that's what this list is about, is the weapons you have access to immediately. Wood axe is another one, or stone axe is another one that just goes into D tier. I think the crafted weapons are great for leveling up that skill, getting into all the caveman territory where you're building your own stuff, but it's not going to service you very well for very long, especially in regard to what you put in to craft it. Finding all these materials and rummaging around to connect all these things is not worth the time you could be spending just looking for other better weapons. Simply carry like 10 of them. These weigh so much, brother. If you're carrying 10 stone axes, what are you doing? You're killing yourself. You are actively harming yourself in this situation. Wrenches. I don't often pick up a wrench and I'm like, weapon, yeah. But when I was testing it, that thing kind of went crazy. The wrench, genuinely good damage, really surprising durability. It did not lose condition after several pulls of zombies, and I was like, I was genuinely shocked by that. Like, some of these weren't surprising, kind of just like whatever, sure, yeah. But the wrench, the hand axe, and what else was it? I think the planks. Sorry, yeah, no, the hand axe, the wrench, and the planks. Those were like shocking to me. So with that being said, the wrench gets thrown into B. And I want to say something real quick about tier lists, right? Because I did a traits tier list years ago. And the big thing there was like, hey, why is this in B or C? B or C is not bad. Like, it's not as good as A, definitely not as good as S. It's not as bad as D. Like, the wood axe is a good weapon. Oh, I spilled water. Is a good weapon if you know how to kite. I don't think the stone axe or the stone knife are ever a good weapon early game, because your maintenance level is so low, it's not gonna matter. It's just going to break. And if you have just a rolling pin for the first like week. By the way, I want to give a quick and very big thank you again to Ping Players. Just a quick little mention, that's all they ask of me. Go into the description, you'll find a link. That'll be my affiliate link. You can use the code Mattsi35 for 35% off of your server. Enjoy, please. What's that guy yapping about? Is he still going? I think he's still going. That's it, all right, I'm sorry. Now that rant's out of the way, the metal pipe. It's kind of all I got. It's durable enough. The damage is okay for what you expect early game, but it's kind of meh. The tire iron. The only reason the tire iron gets as high of a grade as I give it is because it is very durable. If you grab one, you're probably going to use it for a while. The damage is just okay. The damage drop off with muscle strain is it feels worse than others, like the bat and the crowbar. The damage drop off was not that bad. It didn't feel as gross, but just because of the durability, just because it hangs around for so long, and it'll get you from that point A to point B, the next tier weapon. That's why I'm putting it in A. And now the last one, spears. Crafted spears got shafted. This, I almost said season, this update. Used to be, you would just craft a spear. I think you could craft them out of logs. Don't quote me on that. Could out of planks, I believe. They were a little easier to get your hands on. They still didn't last very long. I don't think the maintenance aspect of it changed much, but they just break so frequently and so quickly. But it's really cool, the things that you can do with them. And if you have a lot of saplings, and if you have a knife or a hand axe, and use them as a tool, you can make spears. And just, you know, the way that I feel about spears, they break very quickly, but it's okay because it's really just a backup in case your backup backs out. You catch my drift. And for that, I put them in A. That's my list. This is everything. If you have anything you want to say to me, don't. I don't want to hear it. And again, a huge thank you to Ping Players for sponsoring the channel. Make sure to check the link in the description, and see ya.